They came to investigate the planet. The planet had other plans. This is where it begins. Revelations by Stephen Meehan. A shot whizzed over Fenton's head, driving him to the ground. Earth beside him detonated, showering him as alarm shrieked from the ramp. His lips curled into a snarl as his eyes whipped up.
Why are you firing at friendlies?
Careful, Fenton. It's been volatile since your departure.
Fenton climbed to his feet and brushed the dirt off his clothes. He waved his squad on and resumed his jog.
How hectic was it since we left?
Nothing you'd call stable.
Jarvis's gaze swept the compound as Fenton's team marched through the makeshift checkpoint. His jaw tightened before he spun about and strode up the ramp.
But we need to talk, and everyone else needs to join the effort to build the wall around this boat. Use any materials you can find.
Rubbing his temples with ragged fingers, Fenton followed his commander into the vessel.
What aren't you telling me?
There's too much to discuss.
At the top of the ramp, Jarvis hurried into a side chamber, claimed the closest seat, and grabbed the tablet off the table.
I believe you mentioned filling a storage assembly.
With a nod, Fenton withdrew the device and traded it for the pad.
Tarian's warnings should provide answers with enough study, but for the time being, hint at our welcome.
We had to repel coordinated raids.
Jarvis sighed as he connected the assembly to a screen. Once the logs filled the display, he skimmed through them. When he finished, his eyebrows crept up.
It looks like creatures similar to those that attacked us devastated the original colony.
Have you found any reports on trees?
Jarvis's head turned away from the text as his lips pursed.
What?
Fenton jerked his thumb over his shoulder.
On our return to the ship, a pair of them charged my team.
You mean the forest tried to assault you?
With a grim shake, Fenton wrung his fingers and patted his rifle.
I meant what I said. They walked, spoke, and attempted to kill us, though neither were expecting our weaponry.
Are you serious?
Fenton nodded and slipped his weapon off his shoulder.
The creature's bark, or rather skin, ignited upon impact. When the attacking creatures couldn't douse the flames, they dashed through the trees, still trying to extinguish themselves. Then the forest answered with a tremor beneath our boots.
You said multiple ones attacked you?
Once the initial pair disappeared, another group emerged and chased my team, and if not for leapfrogging, they would have run us down.
Fenton rested his head against the bulkhead and slammed his fist against the metal. With a huff, he turned and lifted the tablet.
But enough about our experience. Based upon our greeting, should I assume you encountered something just as bizarre?
Jarvis snatched the pad and tapped it against the table. His gaze dropped to the device as he released his breath.
Do 2 waves of green-skinned creatures count?
One of Fenton's eyes widened as he claimed a seat.
Green men tried to overrun the ship.
They range from tiny to gigantic.
Jarvis stared at the bulkhead with a vacant expression.
And I'm afraid I underestimated them.
How's that?
These logs redefine everything we fought.
Jarvis tapped the assembly as the overhead lights flickered once before steadying. He sighed as his gaze shifted to Fenton.
Though I'm certain you got that impression from the little you've already examined.
Fenton wiped his dry mouth and stared at the ceiling.
I scanned a few random entries, and what I read included both trees and green creatures. That said, why are we fortifying instead of leaving?
Jarvis tossed the tablet back to Fenton. He plucked the pad from midair and skimmed through the open file. With a groan, he slammed it onto the table.
There's no way this is accurate. The ship was fine when we landed.
You're not wrong.
What happened?
Dirk and Diana are trying to figure that out.
Jarvis retrieved the fallen tablet and bounced it against his palm. He tapped the screen connected to the assembly and scowled.
If we could have gotten this bucket of bolts off the ground, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We would have met you halfway with enough information to complete our mission. As it stands, our vessel is crippled and our troubles will escalate.
Hence the walls?
And I don't care how we get the materials.
Jarvis lowered the device, amending his comment.
Though there's one exception.
I assume we're not allowed to cannibalize our ship?
We won't strand ourselves on this rock if we can avoid it.
If we can't lift off this planet, why don't we radio Wendell for a ride home?
Jarvis shook his head and slapped the pad against his thigh.
We attempted contact right after Dirk confirmed the boat wouldn't cooperate.
Let me guess, you couldn't connect.
We reached nobody.
The device began tapping out a dire melody against Jarvis's leg.
But that's the reason we're focusing on the walls.
While better defenses should assist, based on those ruins, it didn't help the colony.
Jarvis thumped the screen and grimaced.
They didn't know what they were dealing with. Thanks to these logs, we're getting a vivid picture of what this world will throw at us.
I'm not sure that's helpful.
He tapped the hull and hunched over his knees.
Let's not forget, this boat wasn't stocked with provisions for a protracted defensive struggle.
Jarvis nodded and rose to stretch. He sauntered out of the chamber and leaned against the open hatch.
I've already dispatched several teams to find materials to bolster the resources we have. Hopefully they'll discover something we can use to maintain the reactors. Provided the power holds constant, we'll survive.
That's your pep talk?
For now, our options are narrowing.
With a scoff, Jarvis turned around and clapped his hands. He returned to the chamber, reclaimed his seat, and resumed reading the logs.
Go supervise the search for materials and keep your eyes open for potential threats.
With that, our story concludes. I hope you've enjoyed today's reprieve from your daily grind. If you like the vibe, hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, because every bit helps get this channel spread to those who require a momentary chance to unwind. I'll see you for the next tale, my friends. Thanks for reaching the end of the video. But why not keep the rhythm going? Pick one of the videos on screen and settle in for another moment of escape. And if you haven't yet, tap the bell to get notified when new tales drop.